Hi, welcome to another week. Moving on with this class. Good job last week. Keep it up. Your momentum is going well, and just think you're almost halfway done with the course here. All right, so let's look at your discussion question for the week. We're really going to be looking at formal writing and how it's different from everyday conversation. One thing I always want to point out to my students, and you'll see it in some of my feedback when I get integrating more of your papers, is that people tend to write like they talk, and we really need to try to move away from that because that's not scholarly writing. We use lots of words every day like many, very, lots of different, also is another one. Really try to take those words out of your writing. I know I've said it before, I'll continue to say it, you're going to continue to see it in my corrections, but those are what we call filler words or unnecessary words. So in the discussion, in the discussion question, I want you guys to address how you see yourself writing differently as far as formal or academic writing versus how you speak on a daily basis. We're a lot of times much more dramatic when we talk, and we need to be much more concise and to the point in our scholarly writing. Now, as far as your assignment goes, there is no synthesis assignment this week, so you kind of have a break from that. I'm going to look at your shell. We're going to get everything corrected, and I'll get that feedback to you so you can start to get the nuts and bolts into the shell, okay? Now, with the professional development, you've got about 4 different parts, and again, some of this is going to be hammering out the APA. You've got 2 paragraphs that you've been given, and you need to rewrite those paragraphs. Now keep in mind, there's probably going to be about 20 different ways that you guys could each write these paragraphs. I'm not looking for an exact science here. I want you to take the time and go through and try and find all the mistakes in these paragraphs. When should maybe a new paragraph be started? Is the punctuation, should we change the punctuation, capital letters, numbers, quotations, anything that you can find. There's lots of different things you can be looking for in these 2 paragraphs. Just keep in mind, none of you are going to write it exactly the same, and I get that. Okay, then moving on to the next part, you have the guided writing exercise. Basically what you're going to do here is you're going to set a timer for 5 minutes and just write. When the timer's up, just be done, okay? Write about whatever you want to. Don't worry about punctuation, grammar, anything. You can use shorthand writing, whatever you want to do, abbreviations, doesn't matter. Now you're going to go back after you've taken a little bit of break. Go back and write your experience with correct grammar, punctuation, and spelling. Submit both parts, the free writing and the correct writing, or the APA, so to speak, formatted writing. Add a concluding paragraph that answers the following questions. How was the formal writing experience different from the timed writing? What did you do differently? Was there any difference in the time it took you, and how did you ensure your spelling, grammar, and punctuation were correct? One thing I always want to caution my students is we kind of get a false sense of security by using Microsoft Office, that we assume it's going to pick up on all of our misspelled words. Doesn't do that. Keep in mind, you can have a word like there, like we're going to go there, and you can spell it correctly, but it's actually what you spelled is T-H-E-I-R. So it's not going to pick up on some of that stuff. Always proofread. I really encourage some of my students to read it out loud slowly, or have somebody else proof it before you turn it in, because sometimes I can read something 5 times and not catch a mistake, and somebody else will read it. Like my husband will have read one of my papers and he's like, well, is this really what you want to say here? So have somebody else read it that's not familiar with the paper. All right, part 3. Describe when the following words would be used in a scholarly essay, then use those that are appropriate to a scholarly essay in a sentence. And you're listed all kinds of different words there. Make sure you use each one of them and do put them in a sentence, okay? And then finally the last one, number 4, describe the use of apostrophes in writing in general. When should they be used in formal writings? When should apostrophes be avoided in formal writing? So again, this is really just getting us used to more APA stuff. Dive into that APA book. It's got great information. I know it can be a dry read. I know it can be confusing. But keep that book with you whenever you work on an assignment, because I guarantee you by the time you are done with your BSN, and for some of you that move on to your MSN, that is going to become your Bible. You are going to depend on that for everything. And it is my go-to if I question something. Purdue OWL's a good site, don't get me wrong, but my go-to, my reference is your APA book since it is a required text. If you have any questions, feel free to email me. Otherwise, have a great week.